back after a couple of more days of our Fijian honeymoon and wanted to check in with what we've been up to. The resort here offers entertainment of an evening. When we first arrived, the entertainment wasn't running because as we've said earlier, we've booked our trip just as Fiji is starting to open up again. And to be honest, we expected that the entertainment probably wasn't going to be happening for the whole duration of our stay.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we got back from Lautoka, we decided to have some dinner at the resort, and we were pleasantly surprised that the entertainment was back on already, only after about a week or so of opening up. So so that was a Friday evening, and on that evening they run a traditional Fijian dance demonstration, and so had a very entertaining host. He was quite funny and engaging, and all of the dancers were male, weren't they, for that
yeah.
one? In traditional versions of traditional Fijian dress and performing Fijian dances. It was really entertaining, and they engaged a lot with there's quite a lot of people at dinner, other than us, and yeah, they engaged with the audience well. At the end, got everyone up for a Congo line, and had photos taken and things. So yeah, it was really fun. Yeah. What did we have for dinner that night? We also had a really nice traditional Fijian, sort of cold, almost like a sort of a
kokoda.
Kokoda. Yeah. And it's like a served cold, a fish in a somewhat sort of sour, creamy sauce. Lemony, sort of limey flavour with seafood fish in there. It's really delicious. Yeah. And did we have the
barbecue?
Oh yeah, the Fijian barbecue as well. So traditionally prepared meats and root crops, some salads. So that was really tasty.
Yeah, it was.
In Fiji, there's a range of different day cruises that are offered on various boats. They cruise out to sea. There's hundreds of small islands throughout Fiji, and so these tours will go to different islands. And
to be exact, there are 333 islands.
333 islands to be precise. Yes, yeah. So we know that from trivia that was asked during the Fijian cultural dance evening. So yeah, although I believe you knew the answer, right?
Yes.
You'd read it before coming here. So yeah. 333 islands. We went on one of the tours that was recommended to us. It was a tour that was all inclusive. Started in the morning, food and tea and coffee, and also beer and wine, soft drinks throughout the day. The little slightly misleading in that it's advertised as a 4-island tour.
Yeah, and they say, I read the small print, it says 4 island sightseeing. So you see it.
Yeah.
You don't actually land on these islands.
That's right. So we were, well, to be honest, I'm like, how are we going to fit in 4 islands in one day? But in any case, what actually happens is you cruise out on a sailboat, or it's sail and also powered, and you go by a couple of relatively small islands, and I mean the cruise is absolutely beautiful. You see the whole coastline of Fiji, the weather for us was perfect. We've been incredibly lucky. This is actually raining behind us now, so we're not in our pool. This is the first, substantial rain during the day that we've had during our whole trip. So we've been incredibly lucky. But again, the weather was totally clear, beautiful, sunny, and just gorgeous. Calm ocean, cruising past the coastline of the mainland, the west coast where we're staying, and going past relatively close to a couple of sandy small islands before anchoring and disembarking on a really quite small but private sandy island.
So it was really exciting.
It was, yeah, it was nice going on.
Docking onto your own secluded private island.
It was great. And the island, so it's kind of like a desert island that you'd imagine from a comic book strip or whatever. Quite small. The whole area, I don't know. You'd be looking at maybe a couple of 100 square meters or something. Maybe a little larger than that, but like a sort of a large suburban block kind of size. And on the island, they did have some small buildings. So there was a toilet building, shared with various gear, snorkeling equipment, and a large covered hall area and kitchen. And the host group ran a carver ceremony. So they selected one of the members of the tour to be the chief, and then they went through a ceremony where there was a certain clapping before the chief drank, and then clapping from the rest of the group afterwards, and then second person came up and had their carver. I actually thought on the carver ceremony everyone was going to be made or offered to drink carver, but as it turns out they just did a initial drinking with a couple of people, and then anyone else that was interested was able to try some.
But if you're in a traditional Fijian village, I think it's considered rude to not drink the carver if you're offered a bowl.
Yeah. So we have read that you shouldn't turn down a bowl if you're at a traditional village-based carver ceremony. This one was a bit more tourist-friendly. The host did say that if he'd been on his traditional village setting, he would have had to wear, he was wearing shorts, but he would have had to wear cover his legs, basically a long sarong or
I find out that they call these things Zulus in Fiji.
Oh, they're
a Zulu to cover your legs, and then another Zulu to cover your shoulders if your shoulders are bare.
Oh right, yeah, okay. So, but yeah, this was a tourist-friendly version, and they weren't forcing anyone to have carver, and they were pretty lax with the dress code as well. But yeah.
Did the carver taste the same as the one in Suva?
Yeah, it did, although I feel like this one was not as strong, because it didn't really, I got a little bit of a tingly lip thing.
Very watered down.
But it tasted like it was watered down, and it didn't have as strong it had the same flavour but not as strong, that earthy flavour, and the bitter flavour wasn't as strong. So they are giving us diluted carver. Maybe they're trying not to drown all the tourists as well while they're on the island. The other nice part of the tour was that most of the there was how many guys? There's probably, I don't know, all up there was how many went on the boat? It would have been 4 or 5, right? And then there are a couple of people that were just there on the island, weren't there? The main guy that was engaged, or we were talking to the guests the most. He was a funny guy, great host, but always making joking kind of quips. And he did say that, these guys live on the island or something, right? And I'm like, well, I'm assuming that's a joke, but then again, they didn't come on the boat and they didn't leave on the boat, so what is going on? Yeah, not sure. Anyway, they a bunch of the tour group played music and sang, so they had guitars and they played guitar to welcome us on and played songs throughout the day. My folks, and we're like, oh, we're off to Fiji.
That's the way to do it. You have a tree, you just do the second.
Thank you. We do, don't we? That's what I keep telling them.
That was like the left.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of messages, but there's just something good over here, you see, but I can't pass it.
Nothing. I had to
exactly. While we're having, after the carver ceremony, they prepared lunch, which was had some traditional meat-based dishes, and then the barbecue stuff, sausages, salads, and coleslaw, and there was a potato salad, wasn't there? So it was kind of like a mixed, traditional and kind of standard fare. But yeah, really tasty.
Although I heard one of the Australian men complain that there was actually the ratio of salad to meat was much larger than they want, and then I'm like saying to them, well, it's healthy to eat salad. And then okay, I agree with you there.
Yeah, they had a good number of snags though. Like I don't think anyone missed out on having the meat. Yeah. But okay. This Aussie bloke didn't like being offered the salad options so much. It was such a wide variety of salad options.
Yeah.
So the whole time, the whole tour, like neither Jenny nor I are a particularly big drinker. Well, I'll have a beer. Jenny doesn't really drink much at all, alcohol-wise. But yeah, the whole time they were offering beers and wine and soft drinks and various things. So yeah, there's certainly some people on the tour that got their money's worth, that seem to be constantly have a beer or a wine in their hand, and it was nice. They weren't at all stingy on the drink service. There was plenty and always being made available, so that was good. So yeah, during lunch they played some tunes, more like kind of like Western kind of poppy numbers or whatever, which was nice. But they had a Fijian flavour that they gave it, and they ran glass bottom boat trips out from the island. We went on the first one. They took us out over the reef. It was a little bit, I got to say, a little bit washed out. Like it wasn't a totally spectacular, colourful reef, but there again with climate change and all of these issues, that these types of reefs are getting unfortunately fewer and further between. But it was nice. We saw through the glass bottom boat. We saw some tropical fish and sea stars and things. That was quite nice, and the water's pretty clear, so that was enjoyable. And they also ran a couple of guided snorkeling tours. I really enjoyed the snorkeling tour. We have a little GoPro camera with us, and we were able to get some really nice footage swimming with fish. And the guide took us out to the edge of where the island drops off into the deeper ocean, and there was a lot of tropical fish hanging around in that area. So yeah, that was really cool for snorkeling with mainly small fish, but a variety of different ones, zebrafish and clownfish and other colourful tropical fish, sea stars and things. So that was really pretty.
Apparently there was some type of coral, if it touch it would change colour.
Oh,
we didn't see that.
Yeah.
People on another snorkeling tour saw that.
Yeah, a red coral that if you touch it, it basically all the little animal-y bits of the coral poor description, close up and it changes colour from sort of a red to a white. So yeah, that sounded quite good, but we didn't see that ourselves. Idyllic desert island, and you had hammocks in there and deck chairs looking out to the open ocean. So we had to relax and took a few photos. Obviously there was palm trees, as you'd expect on the island. A little volleyball court as well, and they ran a Fiji versus the rest of the world volleyball competition. Said that they've never lost because they threaten that if the Fijian team loses, they leave everyone else on the island, don't bring you back. So they're undefeated so far. And I must say that the main host, he was a cool dude, and just like relaxed and constantly making funny, entertaining little remarks. So yeah, that was nice. It was relaxing and comfortable. So during the tour we also got to chatting a little bit to some of the other passengers, which was nice. So there were a number of families from Australia, some from the UK, some local Fijian people that were there just having a holiday, having a relax during the Easter period. Yeah, and that was nice. Everyone was pleasant. Learned a bit about what these different people were up to and what they'd been doing. And there was another couple there that was on their honeymoon. How long would it have been on the island all up? Like several hours. Although it went so quick.
I think it was only maybe like 2-3 hours. It wasn't that long.
Yeah, but did we get out? Because we left at 10.
An hour and a half to get there.
So yeah, 11:30 we would have got there about. Yeah. And then I think we boarded again at 3, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was over 3 hours on the island, I think.
Okay.
And it went super quickly anyway, as you could imagine, being on your own private desert island with snorkeling and food and beer and hammocks and whatnot. So we headed on back again. Beautiful cruise, weather was perfect. It was still daylight, so you got to see just the beautiful calm ocean and the coastline and some smaller islands. As we cruised back in, the staff played music again, quite a few songs on the trip back in, which was really nice. They prepared an afternoon tea, which included a honeymoon cake for ourselves, and there was another couple there on their honeymoon. So we were the centre of attention there. Jenny got to cut the cake with the other newlywed wife, and so that was nice. The cake itself was really tasty as well, like some kind of a caramel cake. Would it be departed and came back to a port in it's called Denarau, which is probably, as I understand it, the kind of fanciest, most expensive part of Fiji. It's a private island, and they have all of the a whole bunch of 5-star resorts and a water park and a bunch of department store type places, jewelry, and there is some residential on the island. The taxi driver was saying that like a small, relatively small 2-bedroom apartment or something, millions of Fijian dollars, right? It's very much the gated community private island.
For expats.
Rich part of Fiji for Westerners. So we didn't. When we were looking around, we did look at some of these hotels. There were most of the ones in Denarau were they were considerably more costly, were they, or than the place, or what was the?
It all depends on what
you're looking for and what you're wanting.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps if you had a villa like this over at Port Denarau, it would be much more than here at Buddha Point.
But yeah, it's also not. I mean, to be honest, in that gated community, you certainly don't get a feel for what Fiji's like in Nandi or Nandi town or Lautoka or Suva or whatever. It's very much a quarantined, sterilised version of the gated community, and just we don't want that for a trip overseas. That's for sure. We want to see what it's like in the cities and towns and surrounding areas themselves, rather than just a small patch of private gated communities. So caught a cab back from Denarau to the resort. By the time I got back, I guess it was 5:30, 6 o'clock or something. Had a bit of a relax, and then wandered off to dinner at the resort again. And given that there was entertainment on the night before, we figured the entertainment had started again, and on Saturday night they ran another basically stage dancing performance. This one was traditional dances of the South Pacific. Had dancers from a range of different islands, including Cook Islands and Hawaii, a whole bunch of others, and concluded with this Samoan fire dance, which was really impressive. They turned out all the lighting, and then had different dancers come out with various, fire twirling sticks and the fire, I don't know the name of them, but on the rope swinging around.
Poi.
Poi? Poi.
P-O-I.
Okay, yeah. So they were really impressive as well. They did the fire breathing, where they, keep some sort of alcohol in their mouth and then, spit it all out, and a huge flame comes up. And they'd all obviously done this quite a number of times before. It was very impressive, quite acrobatic too. They had people getting up on other people's shoulders and all sorts of things. And the main host, he was pretty impressive at the Samoan fire dancing. He was putting fire on his feet and putting fire out with his mouth and all sorts of things. So that after the fire dancing, they concluded, didn't they, with kind of a goodbye song, but they also then got the crowd involved doing a dance off. So they split. They asked for people to come up, and some people were shy, but quite a few different people did end up coming up, and they split us into papaya, which was the girls, and coconuts, which were the boys. And they then had one of the dancers, so they had actually a male dancer do dancing for the girl group to repeat, and a female dancer do dancing for the boy group to repeat. And then we had a bit of a dance off, concluding with everybody getting up individually and doing some sort of bastardized version of a Fijian dance that was kind of trying to but I don't think we looked particularly elegant, but lots of fun. It was good.
It was our very first dance off.
It was, that's right. And and it was good. Quite a lot of people. It must have been, I don't know, like about 20 blokes and 20 girls that got up and participated. So it was nice. It was fun.
Yeah. Good fun.
So yes, certainly that entertainment that we when we first got here, we were sort of a bit like, oh, will it be on? Oh, it's not on. That's a bit disappointing, but understandable. And then expected to totally miss out on all of it. It's been a real highlight to get that at the end of our trip and to see the entertainment, see the dancing. Just another
tourism is back up and running in Fiji. It's a really positive thing for them.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there was a couple of people trying to check into like when we first arrived at the resort, very quiet as we mentioned. It seemed like there was only a sprinkling of people here, but just this morning we were in reception giving back some beach towels, and there's a couple of people coming in asking to book, and they saying, oh sorry, no, we've got nothing at all available, completely booked out. So yeah, it seems like it's pumping again now, so that's got to be a good thing for Fiji, and yeah, good to see. Yeah. Last night here, we'll probably get some dinner and have a bit of a relax, get packed, then off to try to pass a series of rat tests and before returning to reality.
Yeah.
All right. Well, bye for now.
Bye.